Go ahead.
Okay, so let's do this one more time. Uh, so, Kathy, welcome to our Hangout. We're going to go over some strategies on how to get your article and your videos ranked number one. Now, one of the things that really I spend a lot of time thinking about is what we're all internet marketers or marketers. Okay, I don't want to just confine this to internet marketing, but I remember my first experience online. I I learned that there were 14 million people that were on the internet at the time, and this was a long time ago. And I was really disappointed because I felt like, wow, why didn't I learn about this internet like a year ago? Now with 14 million people already on the internet, I've already missed the boat. Can you believe that I said that? I could have been one of the pioneers. But anyway, as it turns out, it took another probably 10 years had to pass for the internet to really become a marketing platform the way it is now. They had to develop payment gateways and forms and shopping carts and things like that so that people could monetize the internet. And so, really, I don't think I missed anything in the end. I just let all that stuff get developed. And now we're here to teach people what I believe is the number one goal as a marketer, whether you have a store on Main Street or you're marketing products, digital products online, or any kind of products online. And that is, I think we can all agree, including Eben Pagan and all the other guys out there that are selling marketing knowledge, that one of the first things we have to learn how to do is how to use Google, YouTube, Bing, and the other search engines, because that is the real estate that we want to own. That is where all the people around the world go every single day and type in these magic words to find products and solutions to the things that they need products and solutions for. In your particular case, you help people, help caregivers who are taking care of someone who's just had a stroke. And it's actually a really, really interesting program, I think, or idea that you have, because nobody anticipates a stroke. When it happens, it's almost like, prepare yourself for your child to be kidnapped. All right. How do you do that? I mean, you don't expect that to happen, but when it happens, from 1 second to the next, you have got to react. You've got to know what to do, who to call, you know, and the same thing with having a stroke. And if your husband or your wife or a loved one has a stroke, now all of a sudden you're thrust into this situation where you have to take care of them. And you give people resources and tools and do consulting and so forth to help them how to do that. The reason the reason this is so good is, number one, you create a great service. Number two, for me and Ray to help you market your program is very well defined. Your avatar is very well defined. Um, we know where to find these people, and we don't want to advertise to everybody in the world, okay? Because not everybody in the world is going to have to deal with this problem right now. We want to target people who are most likely to be in a situation where they're going to be giving care to a stroke victim, all right? And those people are generally not 25-year-old mountain bikers, all right? They have head injuries and broken bones and stuff, but generally they don't have strokes. Okay, so we're not going to be targeting anybody there, and so that makes this a really good program, and one that's um, well focused, and we're going to be able to get you targeted in the number one positions on page one of Google and the other search engines. And that, in my opinion, in any marketing plan, no matter what it is that you're marketing, has to be at the very top of your list, the very top of your list of things to do. Like, what are we going to do? Okay, we're gonna make sure that all of our videos and articles rank number one in all the search engines. Can we agree that's our number one goal? Okay, the next thing is we've got to have information that converts well, so that we can get them from that number one position over to our website. Once you get them to our website or landing page, we've got to make sure that the information and that we're conveying on that landing page is very compelling and makes them want to get the information that we want to give them. Okay, so it makes them want to give us certain information like their email address, so that we can then provide them with I don't know, a report or 10 tips or some helpful videos to get them through the first initial stages of dealing with an individual who has just had a stroke, and the hardships that now have fallen upon the caregiver. So once we are talking, if we can get your video number one for your particular keywords that are targeting those individuals who are giving care to someone who's now paralyzed from the waist down, or as my godmother was paralyzed straight down the middle of her body. Okay, this is incredible. It was almost a line straight down the middle of her face, all the way down, and the right side of her didn't work anymore, and the left side worked just fine. Insane. So when you're faced with that, you have to, and you're typing in keywords, and your video comes up. That's what we need, and then we need that whole flow of information to take place in the most elegant way, so that when they come to the end of it, they know exactly what to do. They need to opt in to get your 10 tips so that they can learn how to take better care of this person. And at the end of the 10 tips, we will, for example, we'll survey them and ask them questions and find out more about them. And based on that information, we'll make them an offer. They may need consulting, they may need an online program, they need whatever, but that's where the money comes in. But before we ever make a sale, we've got to capture their attention. We've got to find out where they're hanging out. All right? We've got to give them information, great information for free, that's going to help them make better decisions in their life, so that the care that they're giving this person who just had a stroke is not so difficult. That's how we make sales online. Okay? But it all begins with being able to get your video ranked, because there are a lot of people out there who have good programs. There may be even people out there who have a better program than you. But there's one big difference between you and them. You are number one in Google. They're nowhere to be found. Okay? So it doesn't really matter. We're not about making the best program in the world right now. We're about getting you noticed and teaching you how to get your program right there front and center. The billboard in Times Square, okay? That's what we're talking about. And that's what the number one organic search result in Google for your keywords is, essentially. I remember when I lived in LA, right at Sunset Boulevard, right by the Cafe Marmont, not Cafe, I don't know, right by where Spago used to be, right next to Spago. There was a Y in the road, and so Sunset Boulevard came down like this, and there was one billboard, and for decades it was the Marlboro Man. Okay, and then of course everybody went cuckoo on cigarettes, and finally the Marlboro Man, after like 40 or 50 years, came down. But that's the positioning. That's the position you want. It's the greatest billboard in the world. Right now it's the Coca-Cola billboard in Times Square. That's what number one in Google is, and that's what we're going to show you how to do. So I'm going to shut up and let Ray take over and teach you the nuts and bolts of what I just talked about, because it's the nuts and bolts. And believe it or not, the nuts and bolts are so darn simple. In reality, and I love this, when Ray comes up with brilliant stuff like this. He says, you know what? There aren't all that many tricks. All you really have to do is what Google tells you to do. And if you just do what Google tells you to do, you'll be number one. And so what we've done is basically we've learned what Google wants, and now we're teaching it to other people. But you could learn this just as easily yourself, but only if you had a brain like Ray's. So what Ray's done is he's taken all that mountain of information and translated it into something that us ordinary folk can understand. So why don't you take over, Ray, and I'll just sit in the background and mute myself out.
First of all, Kathy, thank you for working with us. We're really excited about providing case studies to other people, and you sent in a perfect video to get chosen. It was easy to pick yours, so congratulations. And and obviously our goal, as Scott says, we want to get you the prime real estate that's going to get you the business that you want for your own, your own website and anything that you're trying to deliver to other people. So.
Well, thank you, Ray.
Yeah. You want to tell us a little about yourself, just so give us a minute's worth of Kathy.
Kathy Don. Sure. I am a physical therapist assistant and spent 10 years of my career working with neurological patients and stroke patients, and then transferred to a new job and was there for about 4 months when my own 60-year-old father had a massive stroke. And it's funny how life is and how it prepares you for things. So I'm not sure if it was a curse or a blessing that I knew what to do. But now I'm starting to realize that then I didn't know if it was a curse, but now I realize it was a blessing because it brought me to this point in my life, meeting two guys like you. And I have had a blast working on this program, and I know I can help a lot of people. So I'm creating a program for the caregiver of a stroke victim who finds themselves thrust into the role of being a caregiver and having no idea what to do.
Okay.
And go ahead.
Did you want to say something, Scott? Okay.
No, I was just playing with my functions here, and
Yeah. You might
sorry.
want to stop doing that.
Yes, sir.
All right, Kathy. I have a really nice outline that I'm going to share with you. So, for most of the time, for the remainder of this, you're going to see a Word document, and we're going to walk through this thing, and we're going to look at it and see, how it applies not only to an easy article, but also to a YouTube video. So, hopefully, it's not too convoluted in the way I describe this because I actually did it in advance as a demonstration. So, what my goal was is to put it on YouTube, and theoretically, I could take this article that I wrote and put it on Ezine, but that would be kind of ridiculous because then I'm telling Ezine, this is the way you get your articles approved on Ezine. So I don't want to really do that too much. But so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you and Scott right now. So once I get open up what I want here, tell me when you see it. And let me see here. It takes a second to open up here.
We hired a professional consultant, Kathy, to teach us how to do these hangouts. That's why we're so rotten at it.
Okay, Kathy, can you see this Word document that I have on here now? Okay,
I
is it
can.
is it clear?
It is clear as a
Okay,
bell.
so a couple of things here. So what I did is, this is exactly the way I do anything when I write an easing article or I do a YouTube video. Now there's going to be some overlap here, so just kind of get where I'm going with it. So the title right here, if I do this, if I highlight the title, so how to write articles, that's my main keyword for page one rank on Google, Bing, and Yahoo. If I go down to the bottom here, I don't. Can you see this box at the bottom of my Word document where it says words? Okay.
No, I
Well,
can't.
there's a little box there, and so now you should be able to see this box here, right? All right.
Yes.
So what I try to do in YouTube is I try to stay less than 60 characters with spaces. Now I'm a little more lax with easy articles. I'll go up to 70 characters with spaces because I'm not writing a video, so I don't have to worry about that. So you always want to check your title, how many characters you have in your title, whether it's for YouTube or for ezine. Okay, so that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Now, ideally, I'd like to have more than one keyword in title, but for the purposes of doing this exercise, I really couldn't come up with any other keywords in here. So, how to write an article is always going to be my main keyword here, but it's always going to go first too. So, this is an absolute rule. You have to have your main keyword first. Okay. So the
Okay.
next thing, once you now once we go into easing articles, you told me that you did not, you signed up for the easing articles, but you haven't written any and submitted it to them. So what they're going to always ask you to do first is write your title, and they'll give you suggestions. Don't worry about any of the title suggestions that they give you. Just use the one that you want because it's going to work out better. They're going to ask you to write a summary, and they allow you to do this up to 300 words, which is crazy. But here's the key here, because I'm going to show you a YouTube description down here and the easy and summary. So these are essentially the same thing. What I'm trying to do is put the title into my easy and summary here. So learn how to write articles on page one, for page one rank on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So all I did is I just copied and pasted the title into my summary. Now they tell you can use 300 words, but I typically use 2 or 3 sentences in my summary. You don't need to go overboard with this, but you do want to put keywords in there. So I have learn how to write learn how to write articles. That's one. Let's see what else I have in here. Okay, I don't have anything else in this one here, but because you don't have to go crazy in the easy an article here, you need to give them a good summary. I don't even know where this shows up on there because when I submit my articles and they say it's been approved, all I see is the article, so I'm not sure exactly where this is going. Okay, so just write, I don't know, this is probably like 75 words at the very most here. Okay, now you'll see the keywords. Now this is kind of a combination of both YouTube and Ezine, but I will tell you that in Ezine articles, you only have 100 characters to work with. So if I highlight the first 5 or 6 keywords here, and these are the ones that I would use on here, I go back down to the bottom, I pull up that box.
When you say 100 characters, Ray, are you talking about 100 characters to work with in that particular section, right?
Yeah, they only allow you 100 characters worth of keywords. So you'll see here that I have 101, which is okay because they don't count the commas in here. So unlike YouTube, where you have, they encourage you to put 10 keywords or more in your metadata. On Easy Articles, they only allow you 100 characters, which you'll be lucky to get more than 6 keywords in 100 characters. It's almost impossible to get more, and most of the time you'll probably wind up with 5. But see, what I was trying to do here is so this is essentially is my YouTube, because I see, Scott, you see your name in there, you see my name in there. We have our domain name in here. So I try to put those things in there as well. But for Easy Articles, I just took the first 5 or 6 that I had on here. So just be cognizant of that, and don't worry about the keywords that they give you either, Kathy. You already have a great list because you've worked with me on the keyword research. So you have, I don't know, how big was your list? It's probably around 200 or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 3 pages, however many you can fit on 3 pages.
Well, you have more than enough then to work with. Okay.
Ray, I noticed that in the keywords here you put your name in front of mine. Is that intentionally, or was that just an error?
Well, alphabetically it's correct, but if you go by order of importance, that's even more valid.
I
Yes.
see. Okay, we'll have to have a chat about that.
Yeah, you said that about one of your other partners too, and that was alphabetical order too, and you got this preoccupation with your name being first.
Yes,
and when you think about this is all about Kathy, not about you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all about me. Ray, I have a question.
Yes.
Do the keywords have to be exact?
Yes.
Or they do?
No. So the keyword list that I gave you, and let me just say this for anybody else who is going to be listening to this, I did do a demonstration with Maribel yesterday, and no, you cannot make up any keywords. These are words that were written by people in Google. So these are valid and legitimate keywords. You do not alter them whatsoever.
Okay.
And just don't, because I found that it works really well if you use exactly what people are typing in. Because see, that's the beauty, Kathy. I don't know what the keywords are. I don't even have to worry about making them up for people when I do the research form, because I'm going by what Google gives me. And that's the beauty. And a lot of people, they want to fight against Google, and that's completely the wrong way to go. You're going to get burned every time you try to do that. If you think you have a great keyword, you're crazy. If it's not in Google, it's not worth it.
But don't the keywords have to be in the article itself?
Well, they are. So you'll see, like these in this particular article. We'll go through these here, but each one of these is in the article. Um, they don't have to be, Kathy, but it's better if they are. Both
Okay.
on easing articles and in YouTube. If you put them in there in the description on YouTube, that it just makes it so much easier for YouTube to categorize your information.
Okay. So what I need to do is look at your keyword list, write those keywords down, not try to pull keywords out of an article that I've written.
No. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Gotcha.
mean, Kathy, you got a great keyword list because um, you just the amount of information on stroke data is amazing. So you will not have any problem finding great keywords in the list that I gave you because first of all you have I'm pretty sure it was over 200. So you have a lot of words to work with, and that's what you really want. You don't want to have a small list of 15 or 20 because that'll get too redundant and it'll look like you're keyword stuffing your information. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So now here's a good example. On YouTube, they want you to, so at the very beginning of your description, and I know we're talking about easy articles here, but they want you to basically copy your title right here, which I've done. So the very beginning of my YouTube description, so there's 61 characters here, is at the very beginning of a YouTube description that I would use. And then I sneak in a couple more keywords here. So article marketing is one, and video marketing is another. So in this little 140 character description, there's actually 138 characters here because I counted them before. I have three keywords in there, but this is like gold. If you do this exactly the way I have here on your YouTube description, you're gonna win. I don't.
Okay.
You could have the worst video in the world, but your video will get ranked right away because you're giving YouTube what they want.
Hey,
Yes.
Ray, is there, since we're on the topic, is there an easy way to count characters without having to count each individual one? Is there a tool that you can recommend to us?
Well, yeah. On the bottom of your Word document, I guess you can't. I can't push this up any further, but there's a little box at the bottom. It says words. It says word count. So when I click on
Hmm.
that right there, do you see how this little box came up here, Scott? Okay,
Yes.
so it says characters with spaces 39. So what I have highlighted here, article marketing and video marketing, is 39 characters with spaces. Now this isn't a Word document. It acts almost the same way on Pages if you have a Mac. I like Word because I've used it for so long, but I work off of Mac almost exclusively, and so I have Word on my Mac. But I like that it's hard if you're just gonna just try to count each one of these letters in there, you're gonna mess it up. This is the easiest way to do it. So at the bottom of your Word document, there's a little box that says words, and if you just click on that, this box will pop up here. So it makes it very easy.
You're showing something that's not showing up on my end.
The
You're saying this box will pop up, and I'm just not
You don't
seeing
see
that.
this box right here,
Right
Kathy? Do you
where?
see a box?
Um, you're talking about the bottom left. On my Word document, it's the bottom left-hand side. There's
No,
a
no. But do you
little
do you see this
tiny.
thing that I'm moving around here?
I see your cursor, but
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
so
I see.
apparently it's not showing up on a Google Hangout, but there's a little. Sorry about that. That's a good point, Scott. Um, there's
but in the bottom left-hand corner of it, there's a little box highlighted.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be different because depending on the version you have, because I have a Word document for Mac, so it may look different than a Word document for Windows.
I'll tell you what, Ray. Here's what we'll do. When we finish with this, we'll put a PDF that shows very precisely where to find it, what it
Yeah,
looks like
it's
in different
yeah, it's very
browsers.
easy. I thought it showed up because when I was talking to Maribel yesterday, she said she saw it. So I just
Hmm.
she was just trying to appease me, I guess.
I think she
Yeah,
lied.
she's lied. She just wants me to keep going.
Just please end this. Okay, so let's move on here. So we're going to talk about the easing body. So this is the style that I would write in, Kathy, and I do a couple of things here. First, you'll notice in the first couple paragraphs, they're either two or three lines long, right? It's not even sentences. Sometimes there's only one sentence, like this one right here is only one sentence here. uh, I'm convinced that eZine likes that. So when you're getting your article approved by the eZine editors, that they probably like it if you break it up like this. And Scott's talked about this in the past too, about doing email marketing. It's just so much easier to read something if it's not all bunched together. So uh, I just started this practice from the very beginning, and I never had any problems with getting approved. So what I'm doing in the beginning here, so if I read the first paragraph here, is today Scott and I are going to help Maribel and Kathy use article marketing to get page one rank on the major search engines, Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So you want to make sure that you're kind of stating your purpose at the very beginning. It doesn't necessarily have to be always in the first paragraph, because what I've done is I've taken the first three or four paragraphs here and try to explain what we're doing. So in the second paragraph, writing articles is very similar to video marketing because your goal is to get someone to take an action by opting into something or buying something. So I'm adding to the first paragraph, and then we use the same strategy across all platforms to get on the real estate we want to be seeing. So in this case, Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, and Google. And so you do not need to change your marketing campaign if you are writing articles, shooting videos, posting on Facebook, or tweeting on Twitter. So that's just kind of a summary, and you would almost do the same thing on YouTube. You would kind of state the issue that you're trying to get across to the people, and then you go into what you want to teach them, and that's what I start doing here. So in this lesson, we're going to write an article, submit the article to eZine Articles, and try to establish real estate on page one of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. I did not add YouTube on here since this is an article on here. Does that make sense so far?
I'm not sure I'm understanding your message in. No.
Well, see, if I was
Sorry.
writing an eZine article right now, this is the way I would talk to you on an eZine article. So at the very beginning, Scott and I are going to talk to you, and we're going to help you get your article ranked on the page one of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, then I'm going to take the next couple paragraphs and try to build upon that about some things that you need to know about doing this, because the eZine editors are going to like that you're building on what you're going to say.
Okay, I understand what you're doing.
Okay, does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
Another thing that's really important, Kathy, is that whatever you're doing, and in this particular case, we have to be very, very clear, crystal clear on what are we trying to accomplish. eZine is going to require that we give good information, but we always have to be focused on our call to action, because everything we're doing here is to get somebody to come to our website. We can't do anything with this customer if they're just sitting there reading our articles. That article has to compel them to come and visit our website, where they can get that free tip or PDF or consultation with you, or whatever it might be that we're promising them. So as long as you stay crystal clear on that, you'll write a good article, but you won't bog people down with too much information. Think of it this way: when you read a classified ad, having been in real estate, one of the biggest lessons I learned was how to write an effective classified ad. Back in those days, that was #1 organic search result in Google, right? And so then you'd see a lot of people who were selling houses that would talk about, it's 4-bedroom, 3-bath, granite countertops and ceiling fans and whoop-de-doos in the back and the front, and they're trying to sell. A classified ad has only one purpose: to generate a phone call to your toll-free number or local number, so that you can then get them on the phone and persuade them to come and see this house, because only when you get them on the phone are you going to be able to say, look, it's just too much to describe. I couldn't do that in a classified. You got to see this house. And if you come out there, I'm going to give you a free dinner to, the Cheesecake Factory. Now, if you couldn't pack all that into that classified ad. So, what you're trying to do, essentially, these are modern classified ads. Okay, you get a lot more space. You get 400 words or 500 words to persuade them to come over. So you got to make it concise. You got to make it worthwhile so you'll get published. But you also want to make them feel like, this is great information, but I need more. I'm going to go over there and get more. Okay. That's the purpose of that ad. That's the same purpose as your YouTube video. It's to just pique their interest to the point where they kind of know you, like you, and trust you just a little bit, enough to come on over to the website and see what else you have to say. But we're not trying to educate anybody here to a degree where they get enough information where they feel like they can take that information and act on it. They need more information. That's why they're coming over to you, okay?
Okay. Now, Ray, I have a question.
Yeah, just real quick, I thought Scott was supposed to be muted. I didn't realize that he was still talking, but go ahead.
He can't help himself. If we have time at the end, I think it would be really helpful if you could decipher the article that I wrote. Like if I had never really written an article before, and I'm trying to follow your guidelines that you're talking about, it would be really helpful for me to be able to see what it is you're talking about in real.
So, like, are you saying take your article and have Ray tell you, do this, don't do that?
Yeah, like I wrote an article already. If it was up on the screen, you could say, okay, here's the title, and here are the keywords that we pulled out of wherever we pulled them out of. Because when I was writing it yesterday, and I got all these papers around me, I'm thinking, man, I really wish I could talk to Ray or Scott right now to think. I had questions, and so when you're looking at the actual, when you're actually doing it, it's a little different than looking at this paper that Ray created, this document.
No, it's not, Kathy. We can do that. We won't be able to do that today because first of all, I haven't looked at your article, and what I don't want to do is just try to go through it blindly without looking at it and give it some thought as to what it says on there. Because one of the things that you're going to wind up doing for me is if you've already written the article, I'll go through there and say, okay, this looks good, this doesn't look good. We may have to spend another session like this, and we can record it and do that. But I don't think I can do it on this one here because this is also for the benefit of other people to learn this stuff. Because when
well, that's what I mean. It would benefit other people. I don't know. I'm just talking from somebody that's never done this before. I just feel like it would have benefited me more if you had one of your articles up there, and I could. And you were pulling information out of that article.
Why don't we do this, Ray? I've got an idea. Why don't you send that article over to Ray, and then Ray can sort of break it up and mark it up, and then we can go over it on Action Coaching on Monday.
Yeah, or even an article that you have. It doesn't have to necessarily be the one that I wrote. It doesn't matter. But
yeah, it's got to be yours.
That's a great idea, Kathy. What I wanted to do here, though, on this one, because this is very specific, because if you've never read anything on Easy Articles the way they do it, this is the process that anybody can take this template and plug things in. So what I'm telling you here in the beginning, so that this section you see right in front of you right now is essentially, this is what I'm going to tell you. So I've probably taken 100 words here, and so you're going to do the same thing on your articles. You're going to take the first 100 or so words, and you're going to describe to your audience what you want them to know. Because you see at the last paragraph there, it says, in this lesson we are going to write an article, submit the article to Easy Articles, and try to establish real estate on page 1 of Google. Well, that's what I'm trying to show you how to do. So whether I'm talking about video marketing, or if I'm talking about people who are, the caregivers for a stroke victim, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to describe to them exactly, and you don't have many words. You have to pick your words carefully here, because to write 400 or 500 words, to some people it may seem like a lot, but it really goes by quickly. And that's what we need to establish here. So as I go through the rest of this, just try to understand how put yourself in the way I'm looking at it, and because our number one goal is to get your article ranked on ezine. Therefore, it'll get ranked on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. So if
Okay.
that's the number one thing we want to do right now. You don't have to write great articles. You just have to write articles that will compel people to go to your website or your landing page. And we
Okay.
establish that at the bottom of this article here. Because I could essentially I could submit this article to Easing, although it would be a little ridiculous, because I'm telling people how to how to get your article ranked on or get it submitted on Easing, and I don't think they'd like that too much.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, they have a whole tutorial on
but
that.
we will do it. Scott said if it's Monday, then we'll do it on Monday, because I'll have time to look at your article in the meantime. But I don't necessarily want to do it because I don't think that way, Kathy, in terms of if I just immediately start looking at your article and say, that's terrible, because that's not the way I want to look at it. I'd want to break it down, and just like when you sent me that when you did that last video, it took me a little while to go through there. You had some really good information, but I just kind of rewrote some of it, and you did a great job on the video, but I didn't do that in 5 minutes either.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so uh, just bear
Yeah.
with me for the next couple minutes here, and we'll see if we can, if this is making sense. Because keep in mind, I'm speaking to you. I'm telling you, you came to my article here because you want to find out how to get your information ranked on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, so that's the context that I'm writing here. I'm not. Yes, I'm giving you instructions, and basically that's what you're doing for anybody. You're giving them good instructions or good solutions to the problems that they're facing, and that's no
Exactly. Remember, crystal clear. Stay focused on what we're doing here. Instead of thinking, we're not writing literature.
exactly.
Okay, we're writing just what we have to and only what we have to get people to the website. That's all we're doing here.
Okay.
We don't even care if it's got commas and punctuation.
Okay.
That may be hard for you. It's going to be hard for people who are educated. Okay, so we have to overcome these things. We're learning a brand new language here, a brand new way to communicate.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Kathy, here's the nuts and bolts of what I'm trying to tell you. Because if you follow these exactly, your first of all, your article is going to get approved quickly, and and if you've chosen the right keywords and the right title and you have the right summary, you're going to wind up with a high ranking, high real estate article on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about here. So we talked about this first paragraph in the beginning. We talked about keeping your title to 60 or 70 characters. And what I say here is that your number one rule for your title is to put your main keyword at the very beginning. And as I say, there are no exceptions. If you think you're going to be cute and you're going to put your title at the end of the title, you're not going to win. Yeah, can you get it ranked number one? Yes, you can. But the likelihood of you getting ranked number one by putting your main keyword first is going to go up dramatically if you follow that rule of thumb. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. That one I have to be hard fast on because there's no exceptions to that. I don't know any other way to do it because I've been doing this for the last year and it's worked every single time. Okay, now we talked about this too. The second paragraph here is where you have 100 characters for your keywords, and again that'll give you about 5 or 6 keywords, and you also want to put those keywords in the body of your article. I'm convinced that that helps e-zines as well as YouTube or Google figure out what is this article all about. Now you have plenty of keywords on your list, so you're not going to have any problem finding 5 or 6 really quality keywords that are related to each other that you can put into your e-zine article. Okay, so that's
Okay.
easy. Then the next thing you come to, this is probably the easiest thing to do on an easy article is you have to provide a category, and so they give you a drop-down list of categories that you're going to choose from, and uh, probably the category yours is going to be under is probably health or wellness or something like that, and then the subcategory they may have something like stroke in there, but it might be heart disease. So you just have to choose the most relevant to the category and subcategory that your article is related to. Okay, that's very easy. And then we talked a little about this one here too, where you write a summary, and they give you up to 300 words, but man, that's crazy to me. Why would anybody write 300 words? You might as well write another article. So what I do is I stay between 2 and 5 sentences, typically 2 to 3 sentences, and I'm lucky to have more than 75 words in my summary. But you have to write one, and that's one thing I'll recommend too. Anything that you do on ezine, like for example, when you write your author bio, when you first, it's kind of fill out the application, you want to write as much stuff about yourself as you can in there because I think they like that. I think what they're testing people to see if like if they just write some couple words or don't write anything in there, they probably say, well, this person's not serious about writing articles. So fill in the information in the application as best you can because that's going to make a huge difference. But here I tell you to write 2 or 3 sentences instead of 300 words because this is not that important, the summary, but just make sure you have your title in there.
Now, is the summary only for the e-zine people, or does the public?
I don't know where it goes, Kathy, because when I get my articles approved, I don't ever see the summary. So it may be very well for the e-zine editors to look at, unless I just don't know where to look for it. Now, what's interesting on this section here too is that if you've made mistakes on each one of your categories, they're going to put up like a little warning flag, a little yellow warning flag. So you're going to always get it on the summary because I always do, and it tells me that I have too much white space on there. But they say that they'll fix that, so that's very easy to don't even worry about that. But now if you have a red or a yellow flag on your body, then you need to make sure that either your spelling's correct or you don't have the right sentence. Like if it's singular or plural, things like that, or past tense or present tense, things like that. That you need to take care of. They're not going to help you figure out what you messed up on. So probably the best thing to do is go into a Word document, run it through spell check, and just make sure that everything's okay there. Generally, that's enough to make it work. Okay.
Okay.
And if I could jump in here, Kathy, another thing that I would recommend is don't wait until you are ready to publish an article, perfectly. When I started futzing around on ezine articles, what I did was I just started writing articles on things that were on my mind, just to learn how to use the tool. At the time, I was suing my bankruptcy lawyer because he stole my Rolex. And so I was writing articles about how to be careful with your bank, with your lawyer, because if you do a barter deal with them, they know all the tricks of the trades to screw you out of never giving you your stuff back, which is what happened to me. So this gives you just write on something or a gardening. You're washing the car, write a quick article on how to wash your car from bottom to top instead of the traditional way. And what it'll do is all these little things, these little that Ray's talking about, like they'll tell you get too much white space. I get that almost on every single article that I write. They tell me it's too much white space, but we'll fix it. I don't. If you're going to fix it, don't even tell me about it.
Right.
But they do. So this is the best way to really figure out what the heck he's talking about. Is get an account with ezine articles. Start writing articles, 400-word articles on anything. And in the process, you'll learn how to use the tool. And then when it's time to write a serious article like what we're talking about, you won't be.
That's fine.
Now, I guess was that Ray doing that?
Okay,
you won't be doing it for the first time.
We're
Okay,
still on
you'll
the summary
know
part
what's
here,
up.
Kathy. That's
Okay.
that little Like I use 2 to 3 sentences. Don't put any more effort into it. To write 300 words seems ridiculous to me that anybody would spend that amount of space to write a summary. Okay. Now the body itself, this is the most important thing, and this is where you're going to make the most mistakes.
Okay.
First of all, the two biggest mistakes that people make is they either write less than 400 words. Now, this doesn't include your title, your keywords, your summary. This is the actual body of your article. It has to be at least 400 words, and it can't be more than 500 words. Okay, there's no exceptions because if you submit it and you have 800 words on there, they're going to tell you that your article is too long. They're not going to tell you why. They're just say it's too long. If you can't follow it, then we need to hit you over the head with a club. We said 400 to 500 words, so that's what you want to do. Okay, pretty simple that you want to do there.
It reminds me of our great friend Robert, who, and Kathy, you know who we're talking about, who, for when we started doing the whole YouTube thing, and we insisted that your YouTube video should be 1.5 to 2 minutes long, and he just struggled to get them under 8 minutes. And it's like, okay, nobody's ever going to watch that video. It's not purposed correctly because we don't put 8-minute videos on YouTube. Uh, People that aren't going to ever get anybody to take action and come over to the website do that. That's what all those other people do who don't know how to rank high and get their videos and articles to convert. They do those kinds of things. But to say that I'm having a really hard time getting it down to 400 words is in my opinion kind of idiotic. Cut the darn thing in half and put us and then and give me your summary and be done with it. And that this is where we have to really kind of get our egos out of it. All right. I have people. If you look at some of my early videos, and let me tell you, I'm like everybody else. I don't like to be laughed at. But I have people in the professional traders who laugh at me. They think that some of my videos are absolutely ridiculous. Preposterous, one person even said. In a comment. All he did with his comment was get me another comment, which I responded to, and that made YouTube like me even more. Okay, so let's not get our egos too involved in this. Let's make sure that we are doing this for the right reason. One of the things that Ray and I talk about when we started creating this program, one of the things that we discussed very, very clearly was, who are we doing this for? Are we doing this for our egos or our peers, or are we doing this for our members, our customers? Okay, we are doing this for our members and customers. We're not creating these things to boost our egos, to make ourselves feel like video marketing studs. Oh, wait a minute, but we are. Never mind. But you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So, stick to the program. And another thing, too, is if you just do the very minimum, this is the only thing in life you'll ever be required to just do the minimum amount of work. Don't overwork it. If you just do the minimum amount of work, you will rank high. You'll be able to be prolific about your article writing and video making because it's going to be really, really easy. And if you try to create a work of art every single time, you'll never be able to do it hundreds and hundreds of times, which is what is going to be required in order to get own as much Google real estate as possible, so that you have a whole ton of free traffic. People, these gurus, they use words like get an avalanche of free traffic, and that's what we're talking about. But we're serious about it, and it's an avalanche. An avalanche is maybe a little bit too strong a word, but a respectable amount of free traffic coming from your videos, enough that makes me 5 figures a month. Okay, and I'm not talking about 10 grand. I'm talking about multiples of 10. Okay, I don't want to make an exact number because it's going to be in 6 figures in about 6 months. And so seriously, I mean, if that's enough, just having several hundred videos out there right now is enough to bring us 5 figures a month. Let's do it the way we're supposed to do it instead of the way we think is the best way to do it.
Well, can I ask you this? Maybe this is a question for Ray. I don't know. does it matter if you have Google real estate across the platform, or do you have to have it? Can you have it just in videos or just in e-zine articles, or
Yeah, most all of mine is video.
so it,
But what we are learning as we expand our own knowledge into it is that
well,
is where we want to be. It also, we also don't want to push out a video a day. Okay, that may be too much, but we can push out a video and then in the next day an article, and the next day a video, and the next day an article. So it actually allows you to become even more prolific with your
Yeah, Kathy,
marketing,
look at it this
and you
way.
get something out every single
The
day,
reason
but
I
it's not a
started getting
video
into
every
the
day, it's not
article
an article every
marketing
day.
is, this has been going on since the beginning of the internet, but most people may say that article marketing is dead. But if you show up on page one of Yahoo, Bing, or Google, somebody's going to click on your stuff more often than if you have a YouTube video on the bottom of page one. If you're the number one ranked article or number one ranked space on Google, you're going to get a lot more hits than anybody on the bottom of page one. So article marketing will work because if you have something to say that's relevant and you can send them over to your landing page, your website, well, you've won. For example, I think I've written 7 or 8 articles in the last 3 or 4 weeks for video marketing, and every one of them has got ranked number one on Bing and Yahoo, and sometimes on Google. So we've gotten probably close to 40 hits, and our website's not even up yet. So because
and this
the
might sound like a
second that
crazy question,
you get
but
your
how do
article
you know
approved,
it
I
was ranked number one?
copy and paste the title into all three search engines to find out where it sits.
Oh, okay. You search it. Okay, I didn't know if something told you that or
That's the only way to do it right. Okay, and as you know, Ray and I are teaching other people how to do it. I never, when I'm showing someone how to do this, I tell them, no matter what country, I'll tell them, go to Google, type in this keyword or keyword phrase, and tell me what comes up in your country. And in every case, they go, oh, look, it's you. And what's really cool about that, Kathy, is that it's so much better than doing like screen sharing, where let me show you something, because people don't trust. Okay, but I can't manipulate your computer. Go to your Google, your YouTube. You're a popular woman today, and search these keywords, and you can give them all of your keywords. I can give a person 50 keywords right now. Search any of them, and they will come up number one. That is so powerful. Kathy, when you see this happen in your own business, and you realize, okay, I can do this, and I can do this every single day, and if I do it every single day, by the end of the year, I'll have 80 articles and I'll have 80 videos, and trust me, that is going to bring traffic to your website, and that traffic is going to convert. A certain percentage of that traffic is going to convert to buying customers, people that pull out their credit card and spend money with you. That's why we're here.
I have another question. I'm sorry, Ray. I know I'm throwing like a wrench in your whole plan, but
That's okay.
what if I write an
Well, Scott and I
article
have
and
one
I
right now,
submit
but it's
it,
not.
but I have no landing page?
It's not going to net anything. So
I mean,
we've
that
had
makes
40 hits on it so far. Um, will we see those people again? Maybe not. Some of them might come back, but the whole purpose is when you have page one ranking on YouTube or Google, Bing, and Yahoo, other people are going to find you on there. And go ahead.
sense.
Uh, you know what I would suggest too, and this is something we should probably like do today, and that is just to put up a quick squeeze page. I'll do a video that says, "Hey, thanks a lot for coming. Really appreciate it. We're not ready yet. Okay, we're not ready for prime time yet, but we will be in about 30 days. And when that happens, we'll shoot you an email and let you know, and give you the path directly
Mm-hmm.
to the website." We should do that because we're not collecting, any data, and we should be. So that's one on us. So the answer, Kathy, really is put up a quick squeeze page. and say, just we used to in the old days, in the real estate business or in the direct marketing business, what we'd do is this is how we would test something to see if it, before we like manufactured the plastic device, we would advertise it, and then we'd see how many responses we'd get back, and then we'd send out a postcard to them and let them know that, okay, we've run out of inventory, and as soon as the next batch comes in from China, we'll let you know. And we do this. We can do the same thing on a landing page or squeeze page. I want you to think about this in a logical way, the way you approach everything else in your life. Okay, there are no big secrets. What do? How about this? It doesn't matter. Okay, like we had 40 people come to our website and we didn't capture them because we've got all these articles and videos out there already, and they're sending traffic. What do we care? We haven't launched yet. It would be smarter to have a squeeze page there so we at least capture their information. But in the meantime, hey, we're busy people. We're doing all sorts of things. We didn't have time to put up a squeeze page. And we're going to launch. It doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't matter. Just forget about those. Those people simply have to
Kathy,
have a
stroke
too. And wait till you're ready.
I'm the one who usually writes the word preposterous on there on Scott's videos. So. Okay. All right. So we've talked a little about some of this stuff here. So just, like right here. So just like on YouTube marketing, you want to present a problem in the first few paragraphs, and that's what I described to you. In that case, I used 4 or 5 paragraphs to get to and you want to make sure your keywords show up in paragraph 1. Okay, that's very important on easing articles. Whatever your main keyword is, it shows up in paragraph 1. Doesn't matter where it's at, but it has to show up in paragraph 1, and there's no exceptions to that rule. Okay, and I've mentioned this already. I keep my paragraphs to no more than 3 lines, and you see this. It's outlined exactly what you see here, right? I mean, there's nothing more than 2 or 3 lines in here. It's easier to read, right? And because that's the way most people are. They don't want it. So now we're going to move on to this next section. So now that you've stated the problem, you want to provide solutions to the problem. And the most efficient way to do this is by using steps or tips. Okay. So let's move on to that, because this is where you're going to really impress the easing editors. So you have 400 words to talk about tips. What I recommend is to use 3 to 10 tips or steps, and just list them. Now, if you use 10 tips, you're really not going to have much. Your information can be so basic, but if it's helpful, go ahead and do it. If you need to expand on each of the tips a little more, use 3. Use 3 or 5 or 7, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then at the very end, you're only going to have 1 or 2 paragraphs at the very end that you're going to want to summarize your points. So here's my example here. So it's right here. Right here. So we look at this. So today we spent time reviewing the best ways on how to write articles for page 1 rank on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Do you notice I basically used the title there? Okay, so you need to use your title in there in your last paragraph. If you follow these guidelines, you will get your articles approved without a hitch. Good luck with your article marketing. So I have a couple of keywords in there. So I have article marketing in there. I have how to write articles on there. So I have a couple of keywords in the last. You don't want to keyword stuff in easing, because they'll catch on to that very quickly and they'll get mad. You don't want to keyword stuff in there. So like if you have the word money, you don't want to put the word money in there 40 times.
You don't want to what?
For one thing, if you use a keyword more than 4% of the time, easing will give you a red or a yellow flag saying you use this 4.3% of the time, and then you'll have to eliminate some of those words that you put in there like that. And that doesn't happen very often, because if you write naturally, you're not going to have a problem with it.
Okay.
Hey, Kathy, one thing I wanted to throw in here real quick is when the internet was young, we're actually just transitioning out of those kinds of what they used to call black hat strategies, where people learned how to, cram keywords in, or like article or video spinning. You've seen that, where you write one article and then you buy a program that takes that one article is all filled with your keywords and spins it. It's not legible, but it used to be able to you used to be able to use tools like that to get ranked. And what the search engines are doing now is they're trying to make their product the best it can be. They want to make every single search relevant to the customer. When the customer goes there, they see something relevant, they want it. Google made a big mistake early on where they would allow someone to buy an ad, whether it was relevant or not. And very quickly, the public learned that the organic search results were more relevant to their search inquiry than the paid ads were. Now, here's what happened. As a result of that, to this very day, it's still in the memory of most of the people using the internet, and very few people, compared to the organic search results, go to the ads. That's why we want to be in the organics. So now there may be, when this whole cycle flushes through, this generation flushes through, that may change, but they really, really hurt themselves, even though they're one of the greatest companies in the world now, most successful. They still really, really damaged themselves by allowing anyone to rank high just because they had the money to pay for it. Okay, so think when you're creating content and for your videos and your websites, make sure that everything you do has credibility, it's helpful, it has a call to action, it really gives people value, and you're communicating with them in a way that is natural. Okay? Like, let me give you a real example of that. Back in the old days, like a year ago, it was effective to stack keywords in your title. Okay, so one of my keyword stacking would, well, you could say, let's use oil trading. Oh, damn it, what's one of my keywords? Oil trading. Shit, I can't think of the keyword right now, but I used the keyword twice in a logical sentence. Okay, oil trading courses and oil trading courses scams. Okay, now just stacking it in like the old way would have been oil trading courses, oil trading courses, oil trading courses. Now nobody says that, and they're spiders will pick that up as this guy's just loaded up, this keyword in the title. But I used that keyword twice in my title, oil trading courses and oil trading courses scans. A logical way that I'm going to tell you about oil trading courses and oil trading courses scams. Okay, so I've been able to now use my keyword twice in a logical way that nobody's going to say, oh, that's weird. Why did he do that? Okay, so if everything you do is logical, it makes sense to you, it'll probably make sense to Google. It'll probably make sense to your customers. And, that is what works. We're still human beings. We're still the users, the end users of this stuff. And if we make it work for the end user, it'll work for Google, because that's who they're trying to please.
Okay, Kathy. So that
makes sense.
That was the body there.
Keep it simple.
So in my
Keep
body,
it simple,
if I were to look at this exactly the way Easing would look, I had 496 words in there, so that's acceptable. You could be 499 and it's acceptable, but you go to 501. And there, I guarantee you, they'll send you a message back saying your article has not been approved until you fix this problem, and so you lose, especially when like my articles, I did one on Monday morning at 8:30, and then I submitted at 9:45, and so it got approved 3 hours later. Well, that's good, but if you don't have the status where they approve them very quickly, you don't want to have to go through this process of writing an article and then theoretically could take another week for your article to get approved. That's frustrating. So you gotta, what I've done on this whole outline here, Kathy, is I'm telling you exactly what you have to do. Whether you're talking about strokes, or you're talking about getting your articles ranked on on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. It's the same thing. It's the whole premise is if you follow the rules that I have there, you're going to do really well. So that's the easing body. Now the last thing, they used to call this the author's bio box, but now they call it the resource box. And so this doesn't count towards your 400 to 500 words. This is just, I think you have 200 words if I'm not mistaken on here, but I don't even go that far with it. So what you want to do is you don't want to go overboard with selling. What your job here is you want to get somebody to go back to your website or to your landing page. And so here's the example I have. Article marketing is a great way to grab prime real estate on page 1 of Google, Yahoo, and Bing. You can improve your website's authority and click-through rate with methods like article marketing and video marketing. If you want to stay on the cutting edge of internet marketing, please visit videomarketingstud.com. You'll be glad you visited our site. So I don't need to, tell them that they got to do some other things. I'm just asking them, please go over to our site. No, it's a separate box that that
And
you'll
this
have
is
to write
not part
something
of
in.
the body of the article? But, okay. Okay.
One of the things that I always include in my articles and also in my videos is I will say, pop on over to my website and take advantage of all of our free resources, or get your questions answered and take advantage of all of our free resources. And if the content of your article or your video is really good, and now you're wrapping it up with, and I hope this was helpful for you. And if you want an answer to your question or want more information, jump on over to the website real quick and take advantage of all of our free resources and all the other cool stuff that's over there. Now, you haven't asked them to pay for anything. You've told them that there's a whole lot more stuff over yonder, okay? And that's where we want to get them. And that's the call to action. And if you'll just write in that conversational style like that, like, yeah, come on over, man. What do you got to lose? Bring it on. I've got all kinds of cool stuff over here for you. That's, and I want you to think of it. I want you to be less formal in your approach. I want you to feel, in your particular case, I want you to really feel their pain. That's the magic mojo that you're going to be able to bring to your articles and your video. You're not just writing on the subject. You've experienced it. You know exactly what they're going through. And if not for your professional experience as a physical therapist, you would have really been lost. And you were lost anyway. And that's when you decided to put together this program for people like you. And that's what this was designed for. So come on over and let me help you. That would be a great way to wrap up your videos, I think. So come on over and let me help you right now with all my free resources and other stuff. And just really make them love you. And with that lisp that you've got going on, oh my God, I just want to, kiss you every time I hear it. You know what I mean? So you got to use that. That's one of those things that you've got. That maybe as a child it wasn't that great, but as an adult it really
more
makes you
things,
adorable.
Kathy. Like I said, when you probably
now.
already put your application in. I don't know what they call it on Easy, but you've done that. Make sure you go back through there before you actually put in your first article. Make sure that if you're talking about more about the author, make sure that you give all your experiences in there. I took quite a bit of time writing mine, and I'd say it's probably 300 to 400 words in there. So, because I kind of figured that that's what they were looking for, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who just go through the minimal effort to just say, yeah, I'm going to sign up for it, and then I'm going to get an article approved. But I think that they're a little more serious about it. I think they want to see that, okay, this person looks like they really do want to write an article. So make sure that you have everything in there. And so if you have, I know one of the things they do is if you have a Twitter account, you definitely want to put that in there, because the minute you click on submit article, it'll ask you if you want to share that information. I don't care where it goes, so I click on share, and so 2 seconds later I shared it, and it actually shows up sometimes on Google on the first page, which is really funny. So you're getting some until they approve your article, you're getting some pre-show activity going on there. And then one of the other things too, Maribel asked me this yesterday, and
Great.
she asked, "Can you put this information on your blog?" The answer is no, because when you agree to submit it to Ezine, they own it, so they will not allow you to put it on there. Now you could go back and rewrite it. I wouldn't put it through an article spinner, but I would. You could certainly rewrite it, give it a slightly different title, and then you can put it there too. That's certainly acceptable, because if it's not written exactly the same, then you're not just recopying it. So go ahead and do that if that helps with your efforts.
Hey, Ray, I want to just say also the reason Ezine is such a credible site and Google values it so much as a site that backlinks to your website is because they are very, very strict about the parameters that they allow. They don't allow you to, like, for example, write a 400-word pitch for your product. In fact, if you're pitching at all, you're not going to get your article approved. So because they have very strict guidelines, you know, getting a backlink from that particular website is very valuable for your organic SEO. All right, and so this is why you only want to be on sites like Ezine, because Google loves them. Anything that Google loves, we have to embrace and learn how to use those tools extremely well, so that we are only viewable, we're only findable on these
Yeah,
really
Kathy,
high
do you
credibility
understand
websites
the value in the
like Ezine and
backlink?
Google and
Even though
YouTube and Bing and so
Easy,
forth.
they
Okay?
essentially own your article. Uh, the fact that they allow you to put a link in the Easy and resource box allows you to get a link back, a relevant link back to your site or your YouTube channel, and that's really important, because the you know who cares if somebody's got a phishing site and they're trying to link back to your site? What does that have to do with strokes? Nothing, right? But the fact that you're getting a valid link from a high authority site really does help out a
Right.
lot. So, at
Right.
the end of the year, let's say that you wrote 50 articles by the end of the year. Well, those 50 links are going to be much more relevant than if you go out and spend $5 on Fiverr and get 1,000 worthless links. You know,
Okay. I do. I understand.
You understand that? Okay, that's really important because the whole business of, and I love Fiverr. In fact, I just got a Fiverr gig in today for a logo. But when it comes to getting likes on Facebook and views on your videos and stuff like that, you don't backlinks. You don't want to do that anymore. At one time it was very effective. It really, really worked. But like I said, the search engines are moving away from that. They're figuring out, their spiders or their technology is figuring out how to detect that kind of stuff, and they're slamming you down. And the last thing you want is to get
okay,
kicked out of
Kathy.
Google,
So,
because you might as well just start a
you
new
brought up
career
an interesting point at the
Mm.
very
and it
beginning
won't be
about, well,
online.
let's look at your article, and I'm a little hesitant to do that, because I almost feel like I'm going to be doing your work for you, and that's not what the intent is here. And so I'm going to look at your stuff. I'll make suggestions on there, and I'll send it back to you. And it may be really good the way it is. It may need some improvements on there, but I want you to make them, okay? Because I know what I'm doing with it. I even in your market, I know enough about that stuff that I could write a good article and get it ranked right away on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. But you're the one who's writing it, so I need you to put the time in to do it, because we want to show people that you are doing it, not Scott and me.
Yeah, I think I probably came across wrong or said it wrong. I think what I meant was it would be helpful to have examples. And as you went down, you did have examples, but at the beginning, um, there weren't very many examples. So that's all I was saying, is that the examples really helped me. You know,
Lesson learned. So I guess what you're saying is we need to do an outline of our presentation before we start so that you will know what's down below.
Should I run it by you first, Kathy?
Maybe,
Should I run my
maybe,
outline by you first?
maybe, but like I
Get
was,
it approved.
what's that?
And if you
No,
write the word
I'm
preposterous on it,
sorry,
I'm going
Ray.
to be really
I
pissed.
No, no, no. It's not like that at all. It just no, no.
It's your
I'm
special
a
word.
very visual learner. So if I can visualize it, so for example, I went on to eZine articles yesterday to look at um, examples of a summary. They don't have any examples of a summary, but if they did, it would have knocked down my
Yeah,
writing
but
the
but
summary
Kathy,
to just a
you know what
couple
I did
minutes.
when I
But I was
started with
trying to
this?
figure it out and decipher everything
I just
because there
started kind
wasn't
of
an
putting into
example.
place,
That's
what
how I
was
meant. I don't.
important and what wasn't. And the biggest thing you have to understand about easing, and Scott hit it right on the head a few minutes ago, is that this cannot be a pitch fest for any products. If you do that, don't even bother writing the article because that's not going to work. But if you're going to help people solve a problem, you're going to get approved 99 out of 100 times on there, plain and simple. And so, as I went through this, what I try to do intentionally was show you the way I would write an article or I would write a description for YouTube, and then I was going to go through it. So I didn't realize I should have had you approved it first, and I apologize for that.
You're a ball buster, Ray.
Hey, real quick. Another thing too is I believe that you learn better by doing, and just the fact that you went into easing and you screwed around in there for a little bit, and now we had this session today. Now you really, really get it.
I
Okay,
do. I do.
and so when you write your article, it's really, really important for you as well as for us and everybody who's going to participate here, that you document everything, even like those insights, like the one you just had. I was in there struggling and I didn't know it yet. That kind of thing. I want to hear about that. Give me a video. Like, just pop
Stupid
the
Ray.
video on. You're good
He
in
didn't.
front of the
He
video
didn't
camera.
have me approve it
Just turn it
first.
on
I hate him.
and just tell us in a minute or yeah, or whatever your impressions, your thoughts are, whatever you think. Whenever you have a like a brainstorm or something happens, a light bulb goes off, pop it on the camera and tell everybody, okay? Because that's really, really valuable stuff. And when you're teaching someone, you're learning really at a much deeper level, okay? So think of this whole process that we're going to be going through as you teaching someone else.
Yeah, Kathy.
When you
Just
learn
real quick
something,
here.
teach it,
Don't get me
and
wrong. When I
you'll
look at
learn it
your
on a much
article,
deeper level.
I'm going to go
Really be
through with
helpful.
a fine tooth comb and I'm going to pick it apart. If it's not to my opinionated standard on how to do this, I'm going to make you do it over because
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. And actually,
no,
I
no,
have
well,
no
no,
problem
that wasn't
trying to
no,
do it and submit it
that I don't
myself
want
and
you
see
to
what
do. I do
happens
want
without
to
even
look
looking
at
at
it. I want
it.
to
I'm okay
be
with
able
that
to
too.
give my
I didn't.
input
I didn't.
and see if you're missing things on there because uh, again, the example I gave you here, all that stuff was really simple, right? And that's essentially what Easing's looking for. They're looking for simplicity. They don't want some convoluted
Yeah.
story about one thing or another. These guys who I don't know how much time they put in reading these articles, but if you go through mine, it goes through pretty quickly because I'm using 2 or 3 sentences. I make a couple of valid points and then I move on. Period. That's it. There's nothing fancy about it, and that's the way you have to look at your articles because your goal is to get somebody to move over to your landing page. Period. Nothing else. That's right. You
Okay.
can stand down now.
Okay. Aye, aye, Captain.
All right. Any other questions, Kathy?
Okay.
Okay. So what I'll do here then is because you sent me on Skype,
Uh,
I'll look at the article and
no,
I'll get it
I don't
back to you
think so.
today, and I'll just mark it up in red so you can see the changes I've made on there, and then go ahead and change them back to where you want to do it. But like I said, it will take up to a week to get it approved in the beginning. So who do we must have lost Scott here. I'm gonna go back to my see if I can. Hope I don't lose you here.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm almost afraid to take the screen share off of here because I lost them last time. But so that's what we'll do, Kathy. We'll go ahead and I'll look at it and I'll send it back to you. And then then I want you to send it back to me one more time with the changes on there, just so that I make sure that you got it the way you want it. Because then you know what? Because you're gonna feel really good about yourself
Okay.
once it gets approved by EZ, and hopefully it gets ranked right away as well. All right. All right, so we'll go ahead and end this because I we've lost Scott, so no sense
Cool.
in
All
trying to
right.
wait
Thank
for
you.
him to come back on. All right, so Kathy, the way you get off of this is you just go up. There's a telephone in the upper right hand corner,
Okay.
and that's all you need to do is
All right.
just exit that way, and you'll be out of here. All right, Kathy, take care.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bye.